got it. The Packers get a big dub here this weekend on ESPN Sports. This is obviously the Beer, Meat, and Cheese podcast. Johnny Samp, Carter Decker on the show here today. And once again, Carter, we are cooking, I would say today. It was one of those we were asking for it for a long time, and now I feel like we finally got it, and it's one of those statement wins. And I'm so glad I got to be a part of it because you know what? I cannot stand the 49ers, and I cannot help myself by just, not really liking them. And they made them more unlikable this week, and we'll talk about it a little bit here. And let's get things going, though, as we head into Packers news here. Packers obviously getting the big dub here, 38-10 at Lambeau. I had the pleasure of going to the game, and that was a ton of fun. And it was one of those games, Carter, where you really just didn't stop cheering. I mean, there was like offense, defense, special teams, whatever it was. You just didn't stop cheering. And I loved that I sat next to a 49ers fan. Didn't say a word to him, didn't want to get belligerent with him or anything, but I did make his life, I think, a little steamy. And we did so I'm really good at the getting my voice really loud and then make it like kind of like a poppy, like real deep voice, kind of obnoxious. So I did that the whole game, and every time a defense came on the field, I'd be like, "Let's go defense!" Like really loud. And I'm pretty sure I got to him a little bit because I did hear some comments. But you know what? It made it a little more fun for us. And Carter, we finally get it. We finally get it. What did you think of that game first off, before we start things off here? And once we get things going, what was your first initial thoughts of the game?
Yeah, so like you said, just didn't stop cheering the whole time. I didn't have the pleasure of going and watching it in person, but I was watching it from home. One of the biggest parts was actually not even a part of the football game, but they brought the two, I believe an AC-130 and then another plane in front of it. And my house is right over the flight path, right under the flight path, I should say. So those things were loud. So I can't imagine how it felt in that stadium with, hundreds of fans, thousands of fans, cheering as those planes flew over before everything kicked off and everything. So first, that was awesome. It was great to see, and like I said, two really, really big planes, and it just made a really big statement because I mean that's just how the game went. We went out there, we played big, we played like we had our big boy pants on. Offense, defense, like you said, special teams, even everyone was contributing. We've been talking about it for a long time. We've been needing, that statement win where we go and we, fire on all cylinders. And I definitely felt like we did it that game. And I think Keyshawn Nixon put it the best. Um, doesn't matter if you're a quarterback down. Doesn't matter if you have injuries. This is the NFL. No matter who the backup is, maybe they're not the greatest player, but they're still NFL caliber athletes. So yeah, the 49ers fans can say this, they can say that. They were down people, blah 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 blah. Doesn't matter. They went out there, and Kyle Shanahan is a great offensive-minded coach. He could work with the worst team in the NFL, and they would still perform. So the fact that we went out there and we laced it up on them was a really really big win for us. Like I said, we've been talking about it, we've been needing it, and yeah, maybe the team was a little banged up that we played, but we still went out there and we balled out regardless. Our defense, got several takeaways. Lucas got back there, and of course, um, David McKinney obviously went out there and picked off his seventh pick, which was huge. Jay Love was out there, Dyson. Didn't throw as many passes as I would have liked, or completions, I should say. Only 13 for 23, 163 yards. However, those were all meaningful yards at the end of the day, and what really made up for it was our run game. And I have been saying this every week. It feels like I'm not for all the cutesy little you know uh, bell routes and everything like that, and the motion and everything. But wow, we really put it up, and we really made it work this game. I mean, the one play that keeps coming to mind, and I keep seeing on my timeline, is the reverse counter action that we had, where we had our tight end come across, cut back across the formation. We had Aiden Reed go behind, and then we had Josh Jacobs go in front, and then cut it back for, like, I think it was a 15-yard gain, 18-yard gain. It was just huge to watch, and it was really awesome to see the offense just kind of get into a rhythm. And not the passing game, perhaps, but the run game, and our line was doing really well. So I was very impressed with how we played this game. I'm very happy with the result. There's obviously things that we can build on, but honestly, I don't have too many critiques for this game, which is kind of strange because you know me, I'm the critique guy. I'll critique anything, and I'm always going to be 100%. But I don't really have too much to say other than I would like a few more completions, but also we got to clean up the drops. The wide receivers thing, so I'm not going to put that all on Jordan Love. But all in all, amazing game. I loved watching it. We needed that really bad. And again, against the 49ers, we really needed a win against that team. So I'm glad with how it turned out. How was sitting in the stadium? Was that fun? Was
Oh
it
my
loud? Was
gosh,
it
it was one of the
have a
most.
few beers maybe?
Oh, I did. Well, I had one for sure. I didn't because I had to pee at halftime, but I didn't want to go. I wanted to hopefully, wait for like a lull in the game, but there was no lull. So I had to
No,
wait
not at all.
till after the game. I'm like, holy crap, do I gotta take a leak? And I didn't, because didn't want to miss anything. Obviously, it was a really fun game, and I think it all started with that first drive going to Tucker Craft for the 11-yard TD. I mean, what a play! Kraft just finding yard or 12 yards, it was somewhere in that ballpark. But Kraft just getting the leverage, knocking guys over, and getting downfield. Jacobs obviously helped carry that drive. I mean, all the way down the field in that first one, he was running, 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 running. And then we had a couple other contributors at the wide receiver column as well. But I think it all started with that first drive. And once we got those first points, now I'm not going to say I was comfortable, but you felt like a weight kind of lifted, if you will, in the stadium. I think everybody was expecting, maybe stall out in the red zone. That's where I was really kind of worried because we got to about the, like 10-yard line, 12-yard line. And I'm like, so what are we going to do here? Like, because I've seen us do it before. We run the ball and then we get stuffed and the drive stalls out. And I didn't want any 49er momentum in that game. And that's why I was so glad that we found a way to score right away. And I think that's what's crucial because I know Matt LaFleur likes to go for the points right away and likes to do the receive the initial kickoff, which most coaches kind of defer and let the other team go try it first. But I know it's his aggressive mindset, but if you don't get those points, it's kind of deflating. And I think that was really big for the Packers to get that first drive going and get it done, frankly. I mean, we got the first drive, and then that second drive, we got three. So then we were up 10-0, and then the 49ers, right before half, scored seven, which kind of made me like, oh, here we go. Like, now we're going to start, the wheels are going to start turning. And then after the half, I think they actually did score again. Uh, or they put up three because they got that 10. And then, so it was like 10-10. And then I'm like, okay, now we're getting, it's Carter, I've been in that situation before where I feel like we were going to have it, but now we're slipping. But we really did get things going in that first drive, and I was really thrilled with how Tucker Craft played. I think he obviously could get more targets even. There was a lot of plays where he was wide open, and fans were like, why are we not going to him in the under route? And I get it. You're trying to get an explosive play. We did have, a few drops from Watson in that big play before the end of the half, which I really would have loved to get that one because that would
Oh,
just turn the stadium on. And then who was the other one? Was that Reed or was that Wicks that it hit him like right in the shoulder pad?
Wick. I think there was Wick.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
but I was glad we got to see Malik Heath get some scoring in.
Yeah.
Bo Melton got involved today, or and during that game, so I was really happy with the involvement from the whole team. Romeo Dobbs had kind of a quieter game, but he still led in the receiving column with 3 receptions, 56 yards. So even though he was
Right.
quiet, it was like, hey, he's still consistent. But it really would have been nice to see Watson come down with that ball because that would have just turned the stadium on fire.
Mm.
And I got to give credit to the people. They must listen to the Beer, Meat, and Cheese podcast because I kind of walked through some tailgates and I did get some food. And I was really thrilled with that.
There you go.
Yeah, Beer, Meat, and Cheese. Got to give a big shout out to the Notre Dame softball coach. He let me get a little mac and cheese and a little beef sandwich. And I was like,
There you go.
let's go, dude. Like, let's go. This is what it's all
Nothing
about.
better.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Because unfortunately, the tailgate village is so expensive that,
Yeah, the Johnsonville
yeah,
Tailgate
it's
Village.
so
Yeah.
expensive. It's like 20 or $25 for a drink. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
Now, if ladies and gentlemen, if you are wondering, this is for deer hunting. It's a road hunting for ditch chickens hat from Miles from the you betcha guy. But yeah, so the I just wanted to make that mention. It's not a Bears hat.
That's not Bears. Make sure you know that. It's
Yep,
not
not
Bears.
Bears. It is
Hunting season.
it's for a deer season right now going on. But yeah, I mean, it was a great time getting out there. The weather was nice. Actually, inside the stadium, it was warmer than outside of it, which was really kind of different. And you're all tucked in there. Unfortunately, I was tucked next to a Niners fan, which made it a little bit more awkward, but I did have plenty of Packers fans around me, which made it tons of fun. Niners traveled fairly well, Carter. Unfortunately, and it was at first I was like, oh my gosh, like not again. But I really think we held our own in that game because we were really loud. I mean, I was really loud. I lost my voice. I mean, it was the next morning. It was that Monday morning. It was this dark, deep, raspy, kind of Sam Elliott kind of voice because I was just building my chords back up. But let's talk about the game a little bit. I mean, just an electric game. I can't get over that game. So Love was obviously, you mentioned 13 for 23, 163 yards, 2 touchdowns, but no picks, Mr. Man. No picks. He was close.
Oh.
He was close.
He was very close, very, very close. And I was like, all right, there's his one for the game. But no, now he's finally broken that streak, so he doesn't have to worry about that anymore.
Yep. So I was hoping that even if it was in the hands, the best one. Okay, so now one of the best plays was I think it was Debo Samuel. Yes, Debo
Bubble?
Samuel, number one, right?
Yeah.
Yep. He had a kick return or punt return, and then it was called back because the Niners fans were getting
Uh-huh.
in our face at that, and he was like, like cocking off to the crowd, and so that was so fun. We're like, oh, check the flags here. We all went
Yeah.
like this. We all went like in my section. We all went like that. Like you got to look back the other way, and then the
Right.
holding call, take it all back. Yeah, because he was really kind of pumped up, and I think it totally demoralized them. Even the fan next to me is like, oh my gosh. And we also played the over under how many penalties there were going to be in the game, like total. And the line
Right.
was set at 12 and a half. We exceeded that. I think it was 14 for both teams, which was kind of fun. But then again, on the other side, Brandon Allen, he looked solid. I mean, he did play great, but he was 17 for 29, 199 yards, one TD, one interception in the contest. Now in the run game, it was Josh Jacobs, 26 carries, 106 yards, three TDs, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, get this man a raise. Now McCaffrey, he got held up pretty well. I mean, he was a minimal game. I mean, 11 carries, 31 yards. That's not McCaffrey like. That is not McCaffrey. And I know they were missing Trent Williams, but that's not an excuse. We're missing
Right.
Edrin Cooper and everybody else. It's a game's a game. Now Dobbs, 3 receptions, 56 yards. Not the most highly, but the ball was spread around, and there was a lot of love on the ground. Then Kittle, 6 reception, 82 yards, and one TD. But I think this was our first complete game as a team. We played all 4 quarters really well. It wasn't a game where, we have a huge drop off in the contest. It was a game where I genuinely think that we played our best football for 4 quarters as best as we could, I guess, that day. But what were your thoughts, I mean, on the whole game as a whole?
Yeah, that's actually a great point. The last time I thought we had a complete game on all facets of the ball, like I said, offense, defense, special teams, was actually last season when we were playing the Dallas Cowboys in the divisional game. Or excuse not the divisional game, but the first or second round. We put up a ton of points that game, a great offense. We played even better defense, and our special teams teed off on them several times. Um, so I think this was, like you said, our first complete game of the season, I would say. And it was it was a great to watch all around. Defense obviously stepped up quite well. They went out there and they held Christian McCaffrey to, like you said, 11 carries for 31 yards. He actually had more receiving yards on 3 catches for 37 yards than he did rushing yards. So to me, that's a win. He's obviously an explosive player. He's not at his form right now because of those injuries and the fact that he hasn't really been playing all season. So again, you can maybe put a little asterisk next to that, but still, it's Christian McCaffrey. So regardless of how injured he is, he's still a dog. So holding him to only 31 yards and his longest run was only 9 yards. And then top that all off, we went out there and Keyshawn Nixon, who again we've been harping on this guy for a long time. We always tend to talk a little bit of smack against him because he's probably one of the weaker links. However, he went out there and he showed off. Got that huge, huge peanut punch. Um, got the ball out of Christian's hands, which ended up actually barely sealing the game at that point. Like you said, that was just demoralizing. On top of having that huge return that got called back for a holding on Williams, or excuse me, was it Zane Anders?
I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, someone got held and it ended up getting called back. And like you said, it was a huge, huge demoralizer. It was a long run. And honestly, if they had completed that and there wasn't a penalty, probably would have done a little bit towards the end of the game and maybe a little bit higher scoring. But at the end of the day, they didn't succeed, and we ended up succeeding. So, defensively, I thought we played lights out. Again, Xavier McKinney came out with a pick. You said Brandon Allen did pretty well, 11 for 29, almost 200 yards. Not bad for someone who really hasn't played at all this year and hasn't played in a real game since 2021, as I believe the commentator said. Oh, it's been a long time for him to come back in. But he came out and he showed out and he did pretty well. So I'll give him props for that. But again, it wasn't enough against our defense. Our defensive line stepped up really, really well. Like I said, Lucas Van Ness got in there. Rashawn Gary was getting pressures. It looked really, really good from a defensive line standpoint. We didn't get a ton of sacks. If I remember correctly, we only got, I believe, 2 sacks. Yes,
Yep,
we
I
only got
believe
two
that.
sacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not a terrible amount of sacks, but again, considering that's more than we've had in the past, it's still pretty good. So I'm happy with the way defense played. Now you mentioned it, our drops. The big one to Christian Watson was a big blow. I was like, no freaking way. And of course, as soon as I go back on Twitter, everyone on Twitter is just attacking Christian Watson, and they're showing his first ever pass ever from Aaron Rodgers. We dropped that thing in the Minnesota game. They're showing other low lights, I guess I should say. Um, and I'll be honest, I've been that guy who's been harping on him for his catches, and I'll be honest, but it did suck to see that ball get dropped. It did suck to see even Romeo had 2 drops, which I believe he is now up to 11.2% drop rate, which is not good at all. Um, but if those are the lowlights we're talking about, or just drops, I'm okay with that. Again, we didn't fumble, we didn't throw a pick, we didn't turn the ball over stupidly, we didn't have a ton of punts where we just like three and outed. So all in all, I think it was a fantastic game. I'm gonna be rewatching this game probably a lot for the over the next week or so, just so I can get my fix till till Thursday. That is.
Yeah, it's a couple
Um,
days here.
Right, so we only got 2 more days till it's game time again. But I was really excited to see us play. I really, really liked the way the defense played. Our offense, specifically Josh Jacobs, went out there, showed out, and he really just let it hang. And we all went out there and we played. And Matt LaFleur, I got to give a huge, huge shout out to him because he absolutely coached the heck out of our team this week. After the minimal win we had against the Bears, this was a huge, huge boost. Um, Playing against a team who we know we're probably going to end up seeing in the playoffs, which
I think
now
they
they
might
only
be
got like a
out.
14.
They have
Yeah,
six
they only got like
losses.
a 14% chance now, so it's
Yep,
not
they're.
great to
I think they
me.
lose one more, they're out.
Yeah, so I'm not worried about it, but it's also the 49ers, so it's like just like the Chiefs, they're never out till, they're out. So we
Yeah,
never
that's
know. We
true.
might see them again. We might not, but it was great to get that win under our belts. We know what we got to do the next time we see them, whether that's this year or next year. And we finally tipped that scales in our favor. So I'm really, really happy with the way we played. Again, small things we can clean up, but as I've said every single week, right now is not when we need to peak. We got to peak when it's Super Bowl time. So I'm really happy with our progression forward. I'd like to see Jay Love hit a few more targets, and I'd like to see us drop a lot less passes. You know what? It's all in the past, and we're 8-3, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people here in Green Bay and the surrounding area are riding really high. Now, something I do want to talk about outside of the game is this headline story of this kid. He goes to the 49ers invasion, they so call it, and they rented out that front room at the bar on Holmgren Way, and he did win a signed CMC ball, which is gonna be pretty worth something. I mean, one day, but the I guess the host of the show wouldn't give it to him. And I mean, completely classless. We'll show a video of it right here, just so you guys have a look at what's happening. Obviously, there's no audio. I'm gonna be talking over it, but I mean, just completely classless. The clown and eighth grader, and it's caused a lot of attention from actually the news now, and now we're getting the 49ers involved because they're actually associated with the team, this group. But one thing I really didn't notice or didn't know was like, I don't know, I just couldn't believe that that would happen to somebody. And I mean,
Right.
I guess I could, but I didn't think they would handle it in that sort of way. So basically, kind of clowns an eighth grader and makes him feel a little foolish. Didn't wasn't really a good look for the organization or anything else. And a lot of the reps there are responding in a positive manner. Trying to help this kid out, considering he is an eighth grader. Now, if it was me, if I won the ball, I'm not gonna walk away. I'm just gonna tell the guy that, yep, this is my ticket. I'm grabbing that thing and I'm running. Just like
Yeah,
Christian
give me that
McCaffrey.
thing.
I know my way out of there. I know my way out of there. I've been in there a number of times. When you spin my head right round playing in your head and when you're drunk after a Packer game, you can run out there sober and get out of there real quick. I'd actually probably look like Christian McCaffrey even though I'd be in slow motion. But yeah, so I did not really like what that. I know I did kind of go off topic here, happened there. Just wanted to bring it up for people that have noticed it. But outside of the game, once again, not within the game. Now, within the game, same thing. I was just going to repeat basically what Carter said. I'm really happy with what the team did. I think there's a lot of room for us to still grow, which is nice because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We hit the Lions in 2 weeks, and we got to take them out. And I really think we could at Ford Field, and I think it would just make such a fun situation because their fans. I've always said it, attack like hyenas, and they don't attack like lions. It's not one on one. It's like 6-on-1, and they're always coming after the Packers. But we'll talk about the Lions in a little bit here. Now, I did want to bring up one quick thing here. So basically, we've said this was a statement win. Is this now the time where, like basically the Patrick Star meme, it's my turn now, or whatever, when they're doing the paint can thing? Is it finally the Packers' turn this season? Do you think that we're going to ride this high and beat Miami coming up here on Thursday with an early Thanksgiving turnaround?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jordan Love on Thanksgiving is absolutely ridiculous, and I'm still jaded over the fact that they didn't give him the turkey after we beat the Lions. Um, I know
That
that's
that's
still
another big
barely.
that's
It's
another big
so
story.
right. It's so in my brain. I as a fan haven't forgotten that. So I know as a player, Jordan Love is thinking about that. He wants that turkey and he wants the frickin' G on it. He doesn't want some plain turkey they turn around because they just forget or don't even care the fact that they think the Packers are going to win. We're going out there. We're going to go out now. I will say Miami's on a little bit of a tear right now. Tua coming back from his 18th or 1,000th concussion.
Yeah, his
Um,
brain's a bowl of soup.
I know he's. I saw a meme today that was like, he got factory reset back to Tuscaloosa Tua, and he's just been going bananas. So I'll give him that. He's going great, but again, you come up here in the cold,
He
especially on
struggles under
Thanksgiving.
45 degrees.
It's a proven fact. So I mean, look at the Chiefs game when they played when it was like negative some degrees. Couldn't do anything, nothing against the Chiefs. So I'm really pumped to see him come up here because obviously I'm a big outdoor stadium fan. I know a lot of people around the league have been
It's
calling
meant to
for
be played
domes.
outdoors, right?
Right, it's an outdoor game. That
That's how
doesn't mean
Vince
we need to put
Lombardi
a
created, the game.
right. And again, like calling back to the Steelers Browns game, was that not awesome with all the snow around there? Now I don't think we're going to be getting any snow. If anything, we might get a little bit of sleet. I don't think it's going to be cold enough for it to stick or anything like that.
It's
However,
supposed to be 23.
that's how. Oh, it is supposed to be that cold. So maybe we'll get a little
Yeah,
precipitation. Who
I'm
knows?
I'm full on
Um,
wearing snow pants, boots, and a jacket to that one.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be a good game to be at. So I'm excited because, like I said, obviously it doesn't do great under 45-degree weather. It's a completely different atmosphere up here, especially when you're out in that bowl. The wind's turning. It's going all different directions. It's not going one direction. So it's very different. And
It's
I'm
not
very
going one
excited to see the
direction.
boys play. There you go. Sorry about that.
No, that's
Um,
I'm
so,
like, you missed that. You missed it. They're not going one
um,
direction.
yeah. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great game. I think we're going to come out with a win. Again, we just play different on Thanksgiving. It's just something about Thanksgiving just gets the Packers going. So I'm super excited. I think that's going to be a win for us. Um, but who knows? I think Tua's doing pretty well, but we just need him to make mistakes. Really, that's the biggest thing. We need at least a fumble, and we need Xavier to get one more pick, and we'll be good to go. So, I think our defense is going to step up again. We live in the cold. We live, breathe the frozen tundra. They're down there in the Miami heat. This is going to be our game. We got to go out there and capitalize, especially after this win where we put up 38 points. I think we have the opportunity to put up a good amount of points, if not the same amount of points, on Miami. They don't have the greatest defense. Now, obviously, they got a lot of good players over there, um, but they obviously got a few leaks through their defense. So I'm excited to see what happens. We're going to need Josh Jacobs on the ground running his absolute ass off, and we're going to need our boys to have completely solid hands. I don't know if they need hand warmers. They need um, latex gloves underneath. That's what I used to do. Put a little latex glove underneath your actual glove so that all the heat kicks back in. Something. We got to do something because we cannot have any more drops from here on out to the end of the season. We got to be 100% with those catches because that's really where we're struggling super hard. I know Dobbs had obviously the catch to Watson was a deep ball and kind of out there at the end of the half, but the one Watson or Dobbs dropped, like you said, hit him like a little bit behind him, sure, but it's a pass nonetheless. It wasn't like it was way outside of his body frame. It was still in his frame, and that was the one that almost ended up becoming a pick. But we got a little bit lucky on that. But if we clean that up, this Miami team is going to have fits trying to get past us.
And I think it's a good to mention, obviously the cold is something we're used to. You, me, and I being from Green Bay, or you from you're from North Central. I always forget that.
I live here. I'm 4 years up
Yeah.
here now. I think that's
Now you're
enough.
here, but
You get
not.
established residency.
So it is a little different for like the rookies, I would say, coming from Georgia, some of those warmer climates. But I think you do get acclimated to it after a while. Like I think players like Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt has finally come around. Some of your big names, I think Dobbs is one of those guys that's had a few years of experience in the cold weather, so I would expect him to be good. Tucker Kraft, he's from North Dakota, I believe, so he should be just fine. It gets colder there than it might get here. And I think we have a real great opportunity here to get 2 wins back to back, kind of real quick and easy. I'm going to yell as loud as I can for you, Carter, and I'm going to say it's from Mr. Carter Decker. And I'm also hoping to create a sign that says, "Give us our turkey leg," at the
Yeah.
Fox broadcast, because we deserve it. Like the Packers deserve it. Give Jay Love his turkey leg. Um,
From his
I
leg,
also
man. Come
think,
on.
if we were to create a shirt here, Carter, for Thanksgiving,
Okay.
give us our turkey leg and put like a turkey leg with Jordan Love's head on it or something.
There
Uh,
you go. Or with the
yeah, that
G right on it.
yeah, Packer G's, something cool like that. That might not be a bad idea. I
His
mean,
head on it.
yeah,
With a little bit of grease here.
yep, and then put like a Lions logo as like the something just like the I don't even know like we eat or we could eat into the Lions logo and just like the Packers like eating like that.
There you go. Give me my turkey leg because
Yeah,
this thing tastes good.
feed me.
And it's just a big old bite out of the lion head. There you go. Something like that.
Something like that. Something because that was the game last year. Now this year we are
Go
going after the
Steelers.
Squeakers with the Dolphins, and they like the warmer climates. Tua Tagovailoa, he struggles in this colder weather, and I think we can thrive on that. I don't think he's really that strong of a thrower, so I think the defense has some opportunities to make some plays. Obviously, do have Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, but we also today got on the injury report nobody listed, which was the most fantastic thing that I've seen. Now, given there's going to be some as the week goes on, but at least today on this Tuesday, Tuesday the 26th, we have nobody listed, which is awesome to see. But I think the Packers have a real great
Does that mean
opportunity.
Dobbs cleared? Does that mean Dobbs cleared the concussion protocol? I haven't checked yet.
I just saw it today and it said nobody on there. So I think it.
That's huge.
I saw it from Matt Schneidman. Schneidman. I can't
Yeah,
remember
yeah, yeah.
his name. But
That's
anyways, I
huge.
believe there was nobody on there, and I think the Packers have a real opportunity. I'm hoping Jair can just get out there for a presence because if his presence makes the defense a little bit stronger, even if he's not making big plays, nobody likes to challenge him. And with Xavier McKinney over the top, that's a 1-2 dynamic threat. Now, given Tyreek's got that speed, Waddle's got great hands, all going to be different. Everybody tightens up a little bit in the cold. It's going to be, we're going to all be bundled up and snuggled together. So I would expect a big game from Jacobs.
Hmm.
And, I think the Packers get the dub. Now, let's do a score prediction for that game just to get it laid down here. Let's get the facts down, Carter. Well, who are you taking and by what score?
Oh well, I'm taking the Packers. I think a home field advantage along with the
I was going to
cold,
say,
of
if you
course,
don't, you're
being
getting kicked off.
you're no longer welcome on the podcast. Um, but I think that we're going to take the dub. Again, Thanksgiving, Turkey Day is just different when you're up here in the north. So I'm really excited. I think we come out with the win. The one thing I will say about the Dolphins, they're going to need to turn Devon Achane out there. The running backs, they're going to have to be strong. However, that gives our linebackers a huge opportunity to have a great game, and
And
we've got some linebackers.
if Edrin Cooper plays, this might be a whole different defense look.
Mm.
Because even Quay
So I'm,
played really good last game. He
yeah,
played.
he was actually one of our. I think he was our
He was
highest
our top, one
play.
of our top guys.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was.
I think he's been listening to the Beer Meat and Cheese podcast here on ESPN Sports.
I'm stepping it up, man. It's
Yeah, that's
big.
Carter and Johnny.
Um,
Yeah, they keep talking crap about me. Yeah, he actually
uh,
played really well, and I was really impressed with how he played.
yeah, I think he had a 91.2
That just
PPF
shows
grade.
his potential, though.
Yeah, really, really good. And I hope we keep a hold of him for a long time. And obviously, I hope he stays healthy. You know, he's had a few concussion issues and some injuries here and there. So, I think if our linebackers, obviously, they're going to have a big game regardless, just because they're one of the core, besides their secondary, they're our second line of defense. So, I'm really excited. I think we're going to end up again putting up similar points. I don't think we're going to get to the 38 mark just because of how cold it's going to be. I think we're gonna top out at 34 points. I think our defense is really, really gonna hold the Miami offense to under. I'm gonna say under 20 points. I'm gonna give them 17. I don't think we're gonna hold them to 10 like we did the 49ers because of the fact of how explosive they are. They got their quarterback back, and they're obviously on a good tear right now. So they got a lot of good momentum going their way. I don't think we're going to hold them to 10, but I think we're going to hold them to under 20 at 17. So 34-17 is going to be my prediction.
And I'm going to go a similar direction. Obviously, I was there at the last game, got a little bit better of a feel maybe than watching it through the camera. I feel a lot of confidence in Lambeau right now. I feel a lot of guys want, I really think, now we may be totally off, but I think that we turned a tide here on the season. We know what our potential is, even though we didn't necessarily reach our potential in that game. I think there's still lots of room to make improvements, that sort of thing. I think we do put up and I'm going to go 35 as a score prediction for the Packers. Now, when I talk about the Dolphins here, they do struggle once again in the cold. They don't like it, but they do have a couple players from the north, like including Alec Ingold, the return of a Bayport grad, where I went to high school. So he'll be playing at fullback. He's obviously used to it. Hoping actually he has a decent game, just for the crowd's sake. But don't score too many, Alec. We don't want to see that. We do like the Packers. But I'm going to go with 34. I'm going to go 34 or 35-21. Excuse me. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be really fun. I think we're going to have a lot of cheering once again. I'm going to be obnoxiously loud for those of you listening on TV broadcast. If you do hear me, I do tend to yell every time the defense gets out there, let's go defense, or we need defense, something like that, in a really low baritone voice. But I really think we can get a big win here and get things moving. But let's move on now that we've given that score prediction. And we're going to take a look here, Mr. Carter, at the Bears and Vikings game. Now, the Bears and Vikings, they did play against each other here just recently. And it was a close game. It was a close game.
Really
and
close.
Frankly, I think a lot of people thought the Vikings were going to blow them out of the water, but they certainly did not. Now, the Vikings just winning 30-27. And they were giving us a lot of crap the week before. We just snuck past the Bears. But they went to OT.
Yes, they did.
Those clowns over there to our west, I mean, it makes it fun, but certainly indeed not handling the Bears quite well. Now, the Bears, I mean, you guys are a mess. You guys got to figure it out, how to close games. I don't know what's going on. Have you ever seen
Cairo Santos needs to kick the ball 5 inches higher because it happened again. And come on, that's no longer a fluke. It's happened every other game almost. You got to figure it out because that would have been a completely different game had they just stuck it. So that's my.
Is that just hitting the ball lower, like with your foot, or is that?
I'll be honest, I'm not a kicker. So
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you, but it's got to be something with his trajectory angle. It's got to be something with how he kicks it or where on the ball he kicks it. I don't think it's the holder. It's obviously not the snapper's fault or nothing like that, but I think Kairos just got to figure it out. And I'm not saying he's a bad kicker because he's actually a pretty
Solid.
good
He's
kicker.
solid.
He just got to get that ball up. Because there's no way that he should be getting blocked every other week. And again, I've seen so many memes on just how the Bears fans are just torn apart by losing like that. They played
But aren't they
so
used
well
to
throughout
that?
that game. They should be used to it by now. You would think they'd be
You
used
think
to it
they'd
by
be
now, but
numb
they're
by now? I mean, if I was them, I'd be, I'd try to get as numb as I can for the game and just sit there and stare blankly at the screen.
yeah. Well, unfortunately, that's really what they have to do because their rest of the season's fairly shot. I mean, they're playing for pride just like the Jets, and unfortunately, they're not going to be playing for pride very long. So I think the Bears, they've got a team, and like you said, they're just a mess. They've got a good team. They got a
Get
good
rid of
defense.
Ryan
They got a
Poles. Get rid of
yeah,
Eberflus. Restart. Just hit the
yeah.
restart
And
button. Get rid of the
unfortunately,
ownership. Let the ownership sell it. Somebody else pick it up. It'll probably be Kanye West or somebody. He's from Chicago. It wouldn't make the team interesting, or at least part
probably
owner.
get a little bit messier. I don't know,
It might
but
be even more of a mess with him at ownership.
yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, so we talk about
I
the. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think they got a great team, but unfortunately they just got to lock it in. I don't know what needs to change, but losing like that several weeks in a row is not an easy thing to go, let alone as a player, but a fan. So I think if they cleaned it up, they could do well, and I think they also did a great job of kind of exposing the Vikings. Or they
That
I mean
they're
the Bears are a great
frauds.
team.
I've been saying it all season long.
So I think it looked good from our perspective that it's like, okay, well, if the Bears can put up 27 points on the Vikings, we can put up 45 points on the Vikings. So I liked it from a Packers perspective. I didn't like that the Vikings ended up winning that in OT. I really, really, really wanted the Bears to win that,
But you
just
just
for the
know
fact that
they're
it
not
wiped
going to
it
do
in the
it.
Vikings' face. Yeah, and again, I was sitting there watching it. I'm like, man, they're gonna screw this up somehow, and in fact, they did, and they lost the game. So
They
it
just.
seems like a
So
trend.
most teams find ways to win. The Bears find ways to lose. They
They
just
just
do.
shoot themselves in the foot. Yeah. Whether it's
And
picks or fumbles or drop balls or penalties
no,
or
it's just
something, just
they
something
just
happens.
find some, and it's like,
Blocks
at what
kicks.
point are you just gonna say like we're done with this? We gotta. I think they're just a miserable team. Um, Unfortunately, at least like like the Raiders, they have a little spark in them. The Bears, it's like, well, it's the Bears. I mean, they're gonna get out there, they're gonna play. It's like my Pop Warner team back in the day. We went 0 and 6, 0 and 7, but I had 10 rushing touchdowns in the season. So
Nice.
I was almost averaging 2 touchdowns a game. Quite a legend there,
Hey, Josh
Carter.
Jacobs.
Oh, dude,
Insane.
what I could have been, but I liked hockey more than I liked football, so I didn't stick with it. But yeah, what could have been? I was quick. I was quick, and I was little, so it was hard to get down because you have to get lower than me. And so when people come tackle me, I just either juked them out, gave them the old spin, and I played. So that I think a lot of the credit comes to I played a lot with like my older brother and bigger kids growing up. So I was always the littlest, so I knew how to handle kids my size because it was like, oh, here they come, like try it, try it. I've been hit by bigger. But yeah, and back in the day when you actually played tackle football in the yard, you actually like tackled each other. Now it's weird because it's like you're 200 pounds and it's gonna hurt. Like you think as adults you could
Running into a
get out in the
wall.
backyard and have a good turkey bowl game, but it like hurts like really bad. That's why you only do it in the snow if you do it, because that makes it soft, a little more of a cushion. Carter, I don't know if you're a big tackle football guy, given you do have a lady and probably have to be more mature. You
Yeah.
can't get slammed on that many beers and then try to put up some stats against your cousins or your nephews or
Yeah.
somebody like that.
Can't be blowing out ACLs and MCLs on the turkey during the turkey
Oh,
trot
come
or the
on.
turkey
That's
game.
what it's all about.
Got to stay locked
Got to be
in.
about 6 bush lights deep, catch the pass. I can see Carter and then just dance all over your little cousin. Just be like, oh, yeah.
Those
Oh.
are those I've been getting a lot of those on my timeline on Twitter, or excuse me, on X as well, of like me 10 beers deep throwing absolute piss missiles
That's what it is.
at my family
That's what it
Thanksgiving. I'm like,
is.
all right, I'm not gonna lie, that sounds like a lot of fun. I kind of want to participate.
Come on, Carter.
No, I got
If
gotta be a little
if
bit more
there's
responsible.
something I challenge you to do this Thanksgiving, is go to your in-laws' house. Now you are married, right? Correct?
Getting married June 14th, 2025
Well,
at Lambeau
congratulations.
actually.
Am I
So
getting an invite? Your
major
favorite
Packers fan.
podcaster? Huh? No, I'm kidding. I
You
won't.
better check it. You better check your mail.
I better. But so yeah, go over to your fiance's house, and does she have like younger cousins?
She's got a little brother who's roughly my little brother's age. So maybe him and I will just go back. We'll go run one-on-one routes in the
Or
backyard.
just go to like a big family gathering, like family, whatever, like Christmas or something, and just get lit up on some shooters and schnapps, and then go play some football in the
Better
backyard.
yet, better yet, why don't I just go? I'll go run around the neighborhood, find a family that's having a good game, and
Collect
I'll
the
just start
kids,
pairing
dude.
up. Be
Collect the
like, dude, let
kids.
me in.
Collect the
Be like,
kids.
come on, let me in.
You see a bunch of cars parked in front of a house, you just go in and be like, okay, when's the game starting?
When are we starting the game? Right now, 4 quarters.
I could
Go
edit
light
it
it up.
too to add like the NFL sounds in the beginning, like dun, 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 or like the Christmas time ones, and then like put the Clydesdales, Carter Decker,
There you
and
go.
the Green Bay
Get me a
Packers.
little thing at the bottom, it's like Carter Decker, St. Norbert College. There you go.
Yes. Well, you got to do your elementary school. Where'd you go to elementary school?
Oh, elementary, St. Mary's Middle School. There we go. That's what we'll call.
See, I had a great one. So I went to Forest Glen, and we were the Timbertails,
Oh, okay.
which is a raccoon.
Timbertails.
It's a raccoon.
Oh, okay.
It's another
Would have
name for
never
a
called.
raccoon. But he wore,
I would have
because
called
our high
raccoons.
school is the Pirates. He wore a bandana and an eye patch. He looked real tough.
Oh,
Yeah, and he
gotcha,
was
gotcha.
cool looking. I mean, Timbertail.
I
Shout
was
out
the I was the comment, so
the.
wasn't that cool. We were
Oh,
just
that's
shooting stars.
lame. That is
Yeah, it wasn't that cool.
lame. But let's get back to it. Turning around from the Turkey Bowl legacies, Carter, I expect you to build one here this year. I'm gonna reach out
Yeah,
to you.
maybe I'll start my own. Who knows? Maybe we'll just start
The
we'll start
beer,
a
meat, and
podcast.
cheese Turkey Bowl.
There you go. We'll
But
just
we need
invite
like
anyone.
you need like kids you can dominate. We're gonna get full grown adults. Yeah, that's gonna.
Listen, I'm gonna go out there and dominate no matter who it is.
But you gotta
Whether
wear
it's a
snow
little
pants.
12-year-old
You gotta wear
or a
snow pants,
45-year-old.
boots, and a jacket
There you
for
go.
it because you gotta be like that puffy, where it's not gonna hurt.
I'd
Um,
say absorb the hits.
yeah, absorb the hits, and I mean I don't care if you wear like the compression shorts with the padding on them, the girdles. Make things a little bit lighter. Put the eye black on. Get the eye
I'll
black.
break out the old college materials, the college gear.
Yeah.
Have the arm sleeve on,
Yep. Put on
hand warmer,
the
towel.
gloves. Yeah, hand warmers.
You know,
And
cleats,
then
man. I'll find the cleats. I'll wear them too. I don't even care.
I got a park actually right by me here, Carter. That we could really
There you
have a
go.
great game, and on like the soccer fields there. Now they do close it in the winter, but I think you could walk to get in there, and you could play ourselves a little turkey bowl. Maybe that's what we do with the fans here. We have a turkey bowl game. Maybe you and I coach. We have a turkey bowl game.
Oh,
We go head to head coaching. I know you're gonna beat me on the plays, but you know what? My creativity might be outlandish for you. But
I
let's.
got no defense, so
Yep.
good luck with that.
Yep. Let's get back to it though. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you do want to join our hypothetical Christmas Turkey
Let us
Bowl
know.
game, right here, right here, right here, you know how to contact us. It's right down below. Now
There you
back
go.
to it. Running through that Vikings game, Sam Darnold, 22 for 34, 330 yards, 2 TDs. Caleb Williams, 32 for 47, 340 yards, and 2 TDs. Aaron Jones on the ground, 22 carries, 106 yards, 1 TD. Williams was the leading rusher, which is really kind of obscure. He had 6 carries, 33 yards. Now in the pass column is Addison. He's been big lately because guys are covering Jefferson like flies on shit. 8 catches, 162 yards, 1 TD. That was pretty funny, wasn't it? Now on the other side, DJ Moore, kind of a fraud, number one. 7 catches, 106 yards, and 1 TD. So what was the overall thoughts on this game here, Mr. Carter?
Obviously, an offensive shootout wasn't a ton of defense, and just looking at the yards thrown by each quarterback, 330 and 340. I mean, that's nuts. That's a lot of pass yards. Um, and it's just a lot of offense. So I really liked it. I thought it really kind of, being an offensive guy, it was a game that I had fun watching because of the back and forth and how much they had going on and how big the catches were and how after the catch, the yak yards were going nuts. I did see something that Justin Jefferson was like, "Hey, if I gotta just distract people so other people like Jordan Addison can go out there and get 162, then that's fine." And honestly, huge respect for that because I know Justin. I know he's a great player, if not one of the best wide receivers in the league at the moment. Um, and
Yeah,
obviously,
thanks for
coming
helping
from
my
that
fantasy
perspective,
team, Mr. Jefferson.
yeah, no kidding. I think he had 6 fantasy points this week, which is
Yep.
just not good.
Thank you. Thank you
Um,
for that.
but But it's good to see that a receiver who is usually labeled, well, receivers in general, usually labeled as divas or problem children. They want this, they want that. If they don't get it, they're throwing fits. It was great to see Justin take a step back and say, hey, I got to be a decoy out there, and this guy's going to go off and we're going to go win this game. That's all that matters. And that's really what I was kind of proud of in um, that post game interview he gave. Just awesome to kind of hear that from him, and it was good to see. Again, I didn't want the Vikings to win. I really didn't want them to win because that would have just helped us. I had the Bears won. But I enjoyed it. It was a great game to watch. It was, like I said, offensive shootout, not a ton of defense. One thing I will say is Caleb Williams being the leading rusher is not a good look, especially when, like you said, DeAndre Swift didn't help my fantasy at all. He just had nothing on the ground. He caught a few passes, but nothing crazy. It's sad that he was leading with only 33 yards.
Hey,
As a
McCaffrey only got
Bears
31.
fan, right? But as a yeah, that's actually
Yeah,
imagine that a
and
quarterback
11
running for.
carries.
There you go. Yeah, and did it on less carries too. So if I were to be a Bears fan, which that would never happen, even if I came back alive as a Chicagoan, wouldn't happen. Um, it's sad to see the fact that their running game is so poor that your quarterback is scrambling for more yards, not even designed runs. Not like he was getting a quarterback power like Lamar Jackson and he's going yard. Oh, he's scrambling because he doesn't have time in the pocket, and his run game is so atrocious. They know he's going to pass it, so they're rushing for, knowing that they're going to get to him, and they can drop eight, or excuse me, yeah, drop 8-7, and they'll be just fine. So
Yep.
I wouldn't like that as a Bears fan. I would really like to see the Bears running back core step up and really go get it. I know Roshan Johnson, that's not his name. Their backup, yeah, I messed that up. Their backup, the Bears' backup running back was actually the one that was putting up good points. He wasn't obviously putting up yards, but he was getting in there and really, making it known. So it's just it was weird to see that dynamic go on. But again, come on, Bears. Why can't you guys just pull out a big win to help the Packers after we kicked your ass up and down the field? Come on.
Yep. And Bears, I mean, Bears are going to continue to bear down and, just continue to, I don't know. They just haven't figured out that the line's the key part of the offense. Unfortunately, they go for all the hype players, Dunze, Caleb Williams, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet. They got a number of guys there that can obviously play football really well. But if you don't have a line, you're not doing anything. Now, if I'm the Bears, the positive is there's only one thing to correct in the draft. That's just working on your line. And, you don't typically need super high picks. Now, I would like to get into the top 10 to probably get a really good lineman there, because they often go one or two go within the top 10, depending on the draft year. I think this year we're going to see a couple go in top 10. But other than that, they're pretty easy to pick up in later rounds. I mean, you got the talent. You got everything else around you. It's part of it's your coaching staff. Your coaching staff sucks. Your GM's overhyped. Eberflus, I don't know why he's still there. They use the offensive coordinator as a scapegoat. It just continues to be a mess. I don't understand how the Bears organization doesn't see where the solution is. It's pretty obvious, I think, for most fans around the league. And I think if they do get things going, they could be really good, plausible team. Now, there's always going to be a lot of hype for the Bears in the offseason. They're going to say they're Super Bowl champions, yet they haven't played a game. And, I mean, that's just going to continue as long as you guys keep doing this and keep making our lives easier up here in the North, because we can continue to remain on top of the realm here and kind of overseeing everybody, just seeing what they're doing. Now, the Packers obviously I think, are going to have a huge draft this year. Obviously, it's at our place, so it's going to be a little different. You guys, Bear fans, probably get a lot of booing this year.
Yeah.
Actually, I think Lions might get more, just because they gave the F Green Bay last year during the draft. I mean, that speaks to Lions fans, though. But nonetheless, I think the Bears, the biggest takeaway is you guys are close. You guys are really close. I think one or two pieces away, you guys can make it, but I got a feeling you guys are screwed up somehow, and you're going to go one or two steps back instead of one or two steps forward. It's just what the Bears do. And now taking a look for this week, the Vikings now take on the Cardinals. And meanwhile, the Bears, they go to Detroit for Thanksgiving. Now this one, Detroit struggles on Thanksgiving. So let's talk about it just here for a second here. So we'll start here with the Vikings and Cardinals. Who do you got going winning this one? Cardinals are red hot too.
Viking. Yeah, I was gonna say the Cardinals are actually playing quite well down the stretch. Now, are they a good team? No, I think they're a little bit over 500, or yeah, they should be a little bit over 500 in terms of overall standing. So it's not, I mean, they're not an insanely great team, but like you said, they've been getting hot. And obviously playing the Vikings off of a game where they got 27 points put up on them and they only scraped by with a kick in overtime, um, against a fairly bad team. It's gonna be an interesting game. Now I'm gonna put this two ways, and I'll do this for both the Vikings and the Lions game. One way, how do I want it to go? And the other way, how do I think it's actually going to go coming from an objective standpoint? Objectively, I think the Vikings are a good team, and I think this is going to be a good bounce back week for them. Playing a not so great team, and they got the opportunity to go lay it up on them. They are really good at dropping into zone coverage. So Kyler Murray's not going to have a ton of opportunities to scramble with that zone coverage. Or if he does scramble, it's going to be minimized. It's not going to be anything crazy. They hardly ever go man to man, so it's not going to be nuts. Now, what do I really want to happen? I want I want them to go out there, the Cardinals, that is. I want the Cardinals to go out there and just dominate. They got the opportunity, they got the players, and obviously the Vikings are the Vikings, so they just take one or two slip ups and they can take this game. I think though, if the Cardinals are going to win this game, there's going to need to be at least 2 to 3 turnovers on the Vikings side, whether that's interceptions, picks, or a muffed punt, something like that that gets back into the hands and they can quickly score. For the Cardinals, I think that's how the Cardinals are going to have to win this game. I think if they play a perfect game on both sides of the ball, the Vikings are going to come out with it. To give you my score prediction for the Vikings Cardinals game, I'm going to say the Vikings are going to come out with this one. I think it's going to be a little bit of a closer game. I don't think the Vikings are really going to go out there and blow them out. And I think the Cardinals have got a little bit of momentum with them. I know obviously they just lost to Seattle with a really horrible loss, and obviously that pick six has just been all over NFL Network and the internet. I've seen it about 18 times today alone. So I think the Cardinals just need to keep a little bit more momentum in their pocket, and they could come out with a win. However, I think it's going to be probably 21 for the Vikings, and then I think the Cardinals are going to come up just a little bit short, probably score one touchdown and then maybe two picks. I'm going to say they get 13 points.
So I'm going to go similar. I think the actually, you know what? I'm going to choose the opposite. I like the Cardinals. I like what the Cardinals are doing. They can build momentum here. They are a team that's used to a dome. Um, I really do think the Cardinals could take off. Now they're having troubles pushing that little bird out of the nest and trying to get things going. But I think if we can get Kyler Murray going, now I know the Vikings do run that kind of zone look. They don't play a lot of guys turning their backs with man to man, so the blitzes, are going to be a little different. The zone blitzes are always a little different. But I think Kyler Murray finds a way. I think he does find a way in this contest. I don't think it's going to be a great contest. And I'm going to go with an awkward score here. I'm going to go with the Cardinals 20 and the Vikings 16. I think there is a couple turnovers on the side of the Vikings. I mean, obviously the defense for the Cardinals, not the greatest this year, but they certainly they're keeping trend with like the Seahawks, some good teams. Now that NFC West is kind of lighting up right now with the Rams and everybody else. Even though the Rams did, I believe, lose again, which is just shocking. McVay, I think, figured it out, but they're just figuring it out too late. And then San Fran, obviously a formidable team. I mean, we laid the lead to them, but, doesn't mean that they're not a good team. So I think I'm going to go Cardinals 20 and the Vikings 16. I do hope the Vikings do get a loss so we can get a win and get into that tie for second place. So it is a little bit of bias going into that one. But nonetheless, we are here on a Packers podcast, the Beer, Meat, and Cheese Show. And, Carter obviously has the jersey on. I have the old classic throwback sweatshirt. There we go. Yep, number 12.
Wearing the Rodgers jersey before it literally goes out of style, and it's going to happen here pretty
dude,
quick.
So last year when he got traded, I went to the Packers Pro Shop to buy a professional official jersey. They were still running him at like $380. I'm like, come on. Like,
oh,
like the player actual, like with the cuff sleeves and everything. I'm like, come on. Like, when are you guys going to. I even asked the person, when are you going to drop the price? And she's like, well, they're going to hold for a while because we know people are going to, buy them for their pictures. And I'm like, I can't.
Last opportunity to get a jersey too.
That's what I
Well,
usually
get a
do when
jersey.
I get the notable players or else I look for like the totally random guys. So I'm famous for wearing a Don Mikowski jersey to Packer games, and I did buy that one off of eBay, but it is pretty legendary. You get a lot of compliments on that one. But again, I'm thinking the Vikings lose in this one 20-16 from the Arizona Cardinals. Now let's move over to the Bears. The Bears Thanksgiving Day, Mr. Man. You'll be watching it. I'll be watching maybe a little bit of it before I head out.
Hmm.
But they got Detroit. Is there any
Yeah.
chance? Is there any chance?
This is what again, I'm gonna give you the two ways, what I think is gonna happen and what I hope is gonna happen. What I think is gonna happen is I think the Lions are actually gonna underestimate the Bears, and the Bears are due for a win. Again, it's gonna be a really, really hard team to beat for the Bears. But if I'm the Lions and I'm 10-1, I am not looking at these Bears with any sort of confidence. I'm looking at them like they are chopped liver, and I'm about to have a feast. So if I'm a Bears or if I'm the Bears players, I'm using that against them. I'm gonna say, hey, you want to underestimate me? And let's go stick the screws to them. Let's go out there and let's go, let them know. Do you know if it's at the Lions or at the Bears?
It's at the Lions. It's Thanksgiving Day.
At the Lions. Oh, and it's in a dome. It's going to be a little bit easier for both teams just because they're not out in the elements and whatnot. However, the Lions, they're due for a choke. 10-1 is a great, great record, but they're due. I mean, they're due for a loss, and I think the Bears could really be the ones to hand it to them. I think the
Spoilers.
Lions are going to overlook them. Yeah, I think they're going to play a little bit of spoiler. That's what I think is going to happen. Now, what
And
I
they
hope
do
happens,
struggle on Turkey Day. Well,
right? They do,
historically,
and
they've lost the last four Turkey Thanksgiving Day games.
right, so they're due, and
But
historically, like
the
you
one
said,
team to
they
bust
don't have a
that
lot going for
trend
them.
is the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy game for them to win, and I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a higher scoring affair. I think it's going to be similar to the Vikings Bears game where it's only like 3 point difference. I imagine this one will actually end up being a touchdown difference. But what I think really needs to happen for the Bears to come out and take a win on this game is they need to be perfect. That means no flags, which has been crushing their team every single week. They get flags on flags on flags on flags, and it's bad. I think if they
It's
can
like
play a
Oprah.
perfect
You get a
game,
flag, you get a flag,
right?
you get a flag, you get a flag.
The refs are like, dude, I'm getting carpal tunnel from reaching my belt to throw the flag every time.
Yeah.
My shoulder hurts. So I think the Bears got a good opportunity because they're going to be underestimated. I don't take them seriously, and clearly the Vikings didn't take them very seriously. Now we really just need the Lions to not take them seriously at all. Jared Goff is going to have a non-perfect game. Again, he's due for it. He's been playing
Goofy. He's
phenomenal,
due to
lights out.
throw some. I mean, he's
He's
running on.
gonna whether it's picks or it's just going to be three and outs because the Bears are going to just lock it down. Um, I think it's going to be a good game. I don't think the Bears are going to get blown out. Genuinely, I don't think they're going to get blown out. I think they're fighting tooth and nail now because they know if they don't end up beating this opponent, they're going to have to play us one more time, and that's just not going to be a good look for them. So, wait, yeah, we play them week 15.
We're playing him after we play the Dolphins, I believe.
Right. So
No, it might be a
obviously it's
game
coming.
after, but yeah, another game in
Yeah.
between there.
Either way, they know that they're going to have to come back and play us again, so they need to have something under their belt. And I think I know their playoff hopes aren't really alive anymore because they've obviously been taken around back and shot. But it, it's um it's just going to be a statement game for them. They need this win, and if they don't get this win, I think the call for Eberflus and the call for a lot of changes to be made are going to be resonating a lot louder than they have been within the Bears organization. My score prediction is going to be a close one. I really, really want the Bears to get out there, and I think if the Bears win, they're only going to win by maybe a kick or maybe 4 points because of some they're going to go for two several times. So I'm going to say they actually put up. The Lions are going to put up points. That's the other thing. The Lions are going to put up points regardless of who they play. So I think it's probably going to be like I'm going to say 27. I'm going to go 27-31. Yeah,
In
in
favor of the
favor of the Bears.
Bears?
in favor of the Bears.
My
Kind of a
man,
wild
my
pick.
man, my
Kind of a
man.
wild pick, but I'm kind of speaking it into existence. Jared Goff's going to take a dump. Caleb Williams is unfortunately going to have a great game. DeAndre Swift is going to ham for my fantasy because I need him to because I really want to make the playoffs. Um, I think the Bears got an opportunity here to really stick it to them and really just show the rest of the league that hey, we may be down and out. We might have had a really bad year this year. We are going to stay here and we're not going to leave. We're going to keep coming back. We're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep, again, tooth and nail every single game. We're not going to give up. This is going to be a really, really big momentum swing for them. And it's going to be a really, really big pause button for the Detroit Lions. That's going to be a real internal moment for them where they're like, man, last 5 years we haven't been taking home the Turkey Trophy, and we lost to the Bears. What does that say for the rest of our
It's called the
season?
Galloping
I think that
Gobbler.
gets in their head. Galloping Gobbler, one of the ways they're gonna
Yep.
they're gonna be like, oh man, what's going on? So, I think the Bears come out with a win. Again, I think they win on extra points. I don't think they're gonna score a touchdown or anything like that in the end of the game to beat them all. I think it's gonna come down to Cairo Santos or a few 2-point tries instead of single points. But it's gonna be a close game. It's gonna be a shootout again. We just really need the Lions to take a fat steamy dump and just take an L. That's what we really need.
So I'm in between on this one. I understand the Bears. We're hoping for that upset, but it's the Bears. We talked about it. We know about it. They're that team that if there's a way to screw it up, they're going to find a way. And it can be all lined up right there in front of them, and they'll try to grab it, and they'll miss and knock over all the dominoes. So I'm going to go with, you know what? I'm going to give them hope for Turkey Day. I think Turkey Day curse continues. I hope one day they actually cancel the specific Detroit Dallas games and spread them around the league a little bit, but nonetheless, that's never going to happen. And I think I'm going to go with Bears winning. You know what? It
I
feels
like
good.
that.
It feels good to say the Bears are going to get a win over the Detroit Lions, and I think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be as high scoring. I'm going to go 24-21. Obviously, Lions going to be right there with them the whole game, but I think the Bears just find a way to do it. It's going to be a really miserable game. It'll be like one you just want to turn the channel and watch the parade, but it's like, do you really want to watch the parade? And then you ask, your uncle if he wants to watch anything else, and then he's like, no, no, and then you're like, okay, well, keep it on, I guess, in background noise. One of those games that you're helping the parents out. You're getting ready for the old turkey bowl, slugging a few bush lights before the game, lighten up a little bit, get a little dizzy, and Carter Decker goes off for 270 yards in the backyard.
All purpose yards.
Yep. And then I've heard you're world famous for the mitten face mask right in the face, to all the kids, and yep, just right in the face and just shove them off, and then
Heisman moments. Every
obviously
time.
the Decker dance, just a doozy there in the end zone. So I think I'm gonna go with the Bears. I'm gonna go with the Bears. It feels weird.
I like that.
It really does, but I don't think they're. If there's a team to screw up a team that's doing really well, it's the Bear. It's the Bears, and they've been close.
Hey,
So maybe this ice breaks here on Turkey Day, with the curse going on and everything else. But it would be nice if,
nothing more right, nothing more poetic than the one of the worst team, well, the worst team in the North
given the
beating
North
the
is
number
really
one
good.
team.
Yeah.
Right, beating the number one team in the North. That would be poetic justice right there, and that's what we're looking for.
Yep, poetic justice like Kendrick Lamar. Now let's move to the other team here, and we're talking about the Detroit Lions, the Toilet Lions, the fan base that came out of their caves a few weeks ago and are here and attacking with their claws all out. So the Lions do beat the Colts 24-6. They moved to 10-1. Goofy was 26 for 36, 269 yards. Richardson, on the other hand, 11 for 28, 172 yards. Gibbs on the ground, 21 carries, 90 yards and 2 TDs. Richardson on the other side, 10 carries, 61 yards. Williams, he had 5 catches, 64 yards, and he got his gun thing removed from the car, or the case dropped. And then Pittman Jr., six receptions, 96 yards. And we did kind of talk about it already. My one question was, is there a way to stop the Lions? And I think if there's a team to do it, It's gonna be the Bears. Let's go. Like if there's one team I'm hoping for this weekend, it's gonna be the Bears. I mean, I think Carter Decker and I are pulling for them. We'll even give a shout out to Bears fans. If we get a Bears fan to comment in our section or in our comment section here, we'll give them a special shout out. We might even give them a little prize. We do respect you guys, kinda, in a way.
Kinda. Listen, I'm gonna say this once, so make sure that all you Bears fans hear it. Let's go Bears! One game. Beat the Lions, and I'm gonna go back to hating you, okay? But let's go Bears. This week, one game. We need you to show out. Please do. Put the Lions in their place. Put them at 10-2, and we'll be cool. I'll stop hating for the rest of this year if you guys win this game.
Yeah,
not,
you know what? You know what? If they do win this game, we'll pick a random Lions fan, and we'll just write down an Illinois address, and we'll send them a gift card. Carter,
that'd be nice. I'll tip for that. What kind of gift card do they want? They want a Quick Trip gift card?
No, because they don't have Quick Trips down there. Get them like a McDonald's or something.
We'll give them that.
We'll just send it to them, and we'll write because the Bears won. We thank you.
And then, Bears. That's all
and maybe we do like a voice card where you open up the card, and we'll do like our voices recorded and be like, you don't know us, but we're from the Beer, Meat, and Cheese podcast here on ESPN Sports. And we want to thank you for the Bears. And it'll end up being like a Packers fan in Illinois. And he'll be like, oh, thanks.
Yeah. Like, I'm actually not a Bears fan.
Yeah.
That's okay. No.
I'll take the gift card. Yeah, that would actually be really fun. Like, it'd be funny to see if they could, like, get them to record a video of them receiving the gift card and then be like, I received this random gift card from these fans, or these guys that do a podcast up in Wisconsin. But yeah, I mean, Carter, I got some big ideas here on the show. We can really make things move. But let's go through it here. NFL news, really not much. Rodgers wants to be out of the Jets in 2025, no longer wants to be a Jet, so he's going to tear apart another organization, as always. We like to pick on him, but he was a great quarterback for us, and nonetheless, I do have a lot of respect for him. Now, do I think his moves right now are impacting his overall legacy? A little bit, yeah. But any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's every week we're talking about Aaron and something else is going wrong. Something else is going in the building. There's another distraction. There's another loss under their belt. Nothing's going their way.
New York does not handle it well. Everything gets out. Everything. Like the Packers, I give them a lot of respect. They hit a lot of stuff, I'm guessing. There's a lot of stuff we don't know.
Like nothing ever came out about what happened with Dobbs or anything like that, other than they went on air and said it had nothing to do with the scheme or how much he was getting the ball. We just wanted to be okay. That was it. So I agree with that. The New Yorkers, they're gonna let it all fly. They're obviously very
they're upset that they got in the trade. They are really upset. I saw a podcast. Right. Kids just firing Matt. He's a Mets-Jets fan, which is about the worst combo you can ever have. Usually they're from like Queens area. He's not happy. And I don't blame him.
And again, it's like, all right, the Jets organization has even called for him to get squatted and sat for the rest of the season, put on fake IR just so they don't take the hit. If they end up releasing him, it's going to be one of the highest dead cap hits since Russell Wilson left the Broncos. It's going to be a bad thing if they ended up letting him go. But again, can you even afford to keep him in the locker room for the morale itself? So like I said, I mean, like you said, we have a lot of respect for Aaron. He did a lot, and he did some greatness for this organization. Got us the Super Bowl, gave us some of the best years as a Packer fan. I'll be honest, those were some of the best years of my life watching those Packers. Just go absolutely nuts out there with Aaron Rodgers at the helm.
He was godlike. He was godlike here in Green Bay.
He was. And 4 MVPs, that's nuts. It's not an easy thing to do, and he did them. And he did it every year. He was an MVP caliber.
All high off ayahuasca.
Right, all while smoking ayahuasca. But it's the reality is that you're right. It is kind of tarnishing his name a little bit. He's not that quarterback that people want to, listen to because he says some outlandish things and speaks his opinion.
Now he wants to be a politician too.
Yeah. So again, his opinion's his opinion.
Wants to run with Robert F. Kennedy.
There you go. Imagine a world where Robert F. Kennedy is president and then Aaron Rodgers is vice president.
If Aaron Rodgers gets vice president, we're officially I mean, it's
We
over.
might be cooked as a
Yeah,
country.
we might be cooked.
But again, it's hard to give him the benefit of the doubt when, like you said, every time he speaks out, it's just the locker room's getting crappier and crappier and crappier, and teammates are getting pissed, the organization's getting pissed, the Jets fans have been pissed since day one, and it's sad to see him become what he is today. After again watching all those amazing years in Green Bay, where he was the GOAT. He was our God. I mean, I still to this day thought that he was better than Tom Brady. Now, looking at it objectively, Tom Brady's obviously the GOAT, and he didn't have this many issues, and he was able to get locker rooms
I think
together and
in his
actually form a
prime,
team.
both of them, putting both of them in his prime, Rodgers had more talent. Brady was more stable.
I think Brady is just also a great leader, and
Yep.
he has that ability to get the juices going and flowing. Whereas Rodgers, well, okay, I'll say this about Tom Brady. He's going to blame whoever's fault it is, but he's not going to be a dick about it. Well, he might be a dick about it, but he's not going to be rude about it. He's going to tell you like, "Hey, this is where you messed up.
Yeah,
This is
Rodgers
what
won't
I
tell
need you
you.
to
He'll
do."
tell it to the media first, and then
Rodgers is going to look at the sideline, find a camera and be like,
Jim from
he's
the
going to pull
office.
A
Yep.
Jim from the office instead of telling the player like, "Hey, dude, I need you to do this." Or this might be crazy coming out of my mouth, but he might actually have to take some responsibility for the fact that he's been throwing some really shitty balls
What? No
behind him,
way.
over him, under him, not in the hand. It's crazy to me that he's coming up every single week. He's just got to lock it in and play some football.
Yep.
He hasn't been playing football, unfortunately.
All right. Now, finally, we're going to wrap up the show here just by running through the rankings in the NFL.
Yes.
Now, this is based on the NFL and their network. Just want to get a real quick recap. One, they got the Lions. Two, the Bills. Three, the Eagles. Four, the Chiefs. Five, the Vikings. Six, the Packers. Seven, the Steelers. Eight, the Ravens. Nine, the Chargers. And 10, the Broncos. I feel like that's a pretty solid list.
I actually don't agree with the top 10. I think there's a few positions and I okay, let me put it like this. I agree with the total people that are in the top 10. I don't agree with the order. I think the Lions obviously got to be put up there at number 1. Buffalo's number 2. I think Philly honestly could be number 2. I think they're decent at number 3 though cuz they got opportunities to keep going upwards.
Chiefs are
Saquon's
a
having
little
a hell
higher.
of a year. I think the Chiefs do not need to be in there. I think the Chiefs should probably be at 10. I know they're 9-1 or 10-1 or whatever it is. I know they're good, but the Lions, who are should be number 1 and are number 1, have been absolutely blowing out almost every single team they've been playing. Whereas the Chiefs almost just lost almost the second worst team in the league. First worst team being the Jaguars, unfortunately. Second being the Panthers, and they almost lost to the Panthers, and they only won by 3 points. Come on, man, you can't be telling me that's top 10 material. I don't agree with that. Minnesota, I think probably should have replaced um, number 4. Actually, I disagree with that. I think Chiefs should be at number 6 where Green Bay is. I think Green Bay should be up there at number 4. I think we've been playing absolutely lights out. I think Minnesota coming off of that loss should have been put down a little bit less. But again, when you throw for 330 yards, kind of hard to tell
They
you
didn't lose.
what it is. Well, sorry, almost lost
Oh,
to the
yeah.
Bears is what I meant.
Yeah.
Um, Steelers, I agree with 7. Actually, I think the Steelers should be one more underneath Baltimore. I think Baltimore is just the better team, and I think that they just absolutely ball out every time they get the ball. Um, I don't think the Steelers should be as high rated right now. I think they haven't really faced a ton of adversity. I mean, obviously, adversity and like switching quarterbacks and that kind of stuff.
Yep. Yep.
But in terms of other teams, they've been playing some decent teams, but nothing great. I think they got a little bit going for them at the moment, but I don't think they're 7 material. Chargers, I don't know how the Chargers are up there because every time they play, they have 18 drops and they just win by the skin of their teeth.
I give them
Obviously, they've had a
credit though.
few games.
Herbert looked really good yesterday.
Oh, yeah, no judge against Herbert. I'm a big Justin Herbert fan. I loved him at Oregon and I love him at the Chargers. He's a great quarterback. He's a competitor and he's a good character. So I really like him and that's no shot against him. I just don't think that as a team they should be up there. The Broncos though, I think they snuck in there. I don't
I
know
like
if
Bo
they should
Nick.
be
I
in the
like
top
Bo. I
10.
like Bo.
I got Bo fever and
Yeah.
I've seen that a few times, but Bo Nix is actually balling out
Dude,
and
he
he's
is for a
playing
guy that
some.
was highly underrated.
Right, and he didn't have a great start to the season, but he's
He's a
looking
ball
really, really,
player.
really good. he's kind of going out there and he's showing out. So I got a little bit of Bo fever. I like it. Again, I think they kind of snuck in there in that top 10, but I'll let them sit there. That's my take on the top 10. I
Yeah.
think the teams are good, but the order is not right.
Yeah, the order might be a little off, but I agree with the most consensus of it with all the teams in there. But I think that'll wrap things up here for this week and Thanksgiving week. So I do want to wish everybody a great Thanksgiving. Get out there and play some Turkey Bowl football, for God's sakes.
Eat
Even
some
in
turkey,
between the
eat some
games.
stuffing.
In between
No,
the games, now Packer fans do have kind of a full schedule. We got 3 games lined up with the night game versus Miami. We're going to take those squeakers down right here in Lambeau. I'll be right there with them and cheering them on for the Beer Meat and Cheese podcast and ESPN Sports. I'll be yelling out for Carter as well. And, as you yell through your TV, it's going to be transported to me. And I'll, exhale what Carter's saying. But yeah,
in spirit.
we're gonna get a big dub here. We're gonna get a big dub on Thursday and get things going. So signing off for the Beer Meat and Cheese podcast. This is my partner here over here to my right, Mr. Carter, and this is me, myself, and I, Johnny Samp. We're gonna have a great week, Carter, and we will see you next time. I hope you guys all have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week here after the big win versus Miami. Take care and have a great Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.